I like that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lesser Saints of Discord. Minus Jables this week, because he had to go and move back to his parents, I guess.
He's
With me, as always, is Rimshee. Nah, as he told me on the phone yesterday, it's like, because he's going to be staying in the basement, he's like, I'm actually going to be that basement-dwelling Reddit mod now. But yeah, with me as always is my co-host Rimshee, who makes sure that the show actually works because I can't be bothered to do any of that. And joining us this week is Dapper Ailment, or we just call him Dap, or the British guy.
Yeah.
That asshole. Usually it's that asshole.
Yeah, that works too.
That's the same nickname I had in school. How's it going this evening, guys?
Oh, it's going.
Oh, this afternoon, I should
More
say.
afternoon for us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Later afternoon for me.
So it's not past 5 o'clock for you guys yet.
Nope,
It's not even past 2
here.
Yeah,
because you're one of them West Coasted degenerates.
Ugh.
I'm one of the few non-degenerates on the West Coast.
I was about to say that the degenerate has said that to the non-degenerate. Okay, let's figure this one out.
Oh, I've never
To be
said
fair,
that.
it depends on how you define
Jesus
degenerate.
Christ. If you could see some of the shit that I think about on a daily basis. Whew.
Yeah, if only that I could repeat what I was thinking just before we started. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, because Twitch is lame.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Bar's not here.
I didn't say he was bar. I said he's been barred.
We're not talking anything relating to the Spaniards.
Oof. There's one very angry Portuguese man right now. Just sitting there seething.
No, like, it's kind of a running joke, because especially the last couple of years, anytime we talk about anything, like, article-wise relating to Spanish or, like, Spain, we bring in Bar as, like, our translator/Spanish correspondent.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not anywhere near bilingual enough to be useful to you, so...
He's not even. English isn't even his third language. Let's just put how linguistically talented he is into perspective.
Yeah, we just bring him in to talk about the Spanish because he hates the Spanish.
Yeah, I'm not even bilingual. This was my intention with that sentence.
Yep. Like, hey, Bar, we got this article out of Spain. You want to read it real quick?
I can already hear the sigh that I would get if I asked him that question.
Yeah, whenever we do it, when he's on the show, there's usually like a low grumble of like,
Yep.
motherfuckers.
I know exactly the one that you... You're exactly the one that we're talking about. So, what's on the docket then? What have you guys got?
Autism.
What about it? The fact that it's just as prevalent in women, but harder to prove?
That is an interesting study.
That's a subject that's pretty close to home for me. So
Pretty close to home for me too, asshole.
yeah, it's pretty close to home for me because I know all you assholes, and I'm sure 90% of you at a minimum are autistic.
Of course we are.
I've never said that I'm not, even though my doctor's office lost all the records proving that I am. Fuckers.
Yeah, I went when I was in secondary school, or high school in American parlance. I was coming to the end of my time there, and I finally got diagnosed with dyslexia, so that they could give me some help during the exams, to help me.
Oh
Process
no,
the
you're another
information.
Rimshee.
No, I'm not, because instead of losing the face and saying, "Hey, we missed your child's special needs, Mrs. Ailment," my mother, they decided, nah, he's just lazy, fuck him, and didn't give me any of the help I needed.
No, I meant the fact that you're both dyslexic fucks that can't read properly.
Oh, well, I mean, some would say that's a
Dyslexics
prerequisite.
of the world untie.
When the doctor told me I had sex daily, I was very excited, and then I realized I misread it.
Man,
This is
if
not
I
the
had
disease I thought I had.
if I had $1 for every time over the years doing this show that Rimshee's got embodied trying to read an article.
Not by someone else calling me out, but by the article itself. And me catching it.
So, if you could have one
Hey, Vampire!
neurospicy...
Vampire!
If you could have one neurospicy trait, if you could choose one rather than having to be dealing with the hand you've been dealt, what would you want if you had to
Down
have
syndrome.
one? Right? just be strong as fuck and just go out at 25 with a bad heart, just happy. Just get to eat all of the glue that you want.
Oh no, I'd kind of be partial
me
to
to
some
hesitate at
version.
all, or
I'd kind of be partial to some versions of Tourette's, so I would be more permissible to get away with just screaming all the fucked up shit that I'm constantly thinking about.
Yeah, but then you'd have to get like special protections from Twitch to be on, and I don't think
you
your
could
tits are
also
that good.
abuse the fact that you've got Down syndrome to get away with that shit too.
I just the image in my head of Rimshee with Down syndrome terrifies me. That man is a ball of energy already.
Me with Down syndrome, like I would have like some stupid distinction or like title. It's just like, yeah, that guy's won the state pickle jar opening contest 10 years running.
There's nothing wrong with opening pickles. It ain't much, but it's honest work.
I don't know what it is about, like, have you guys noticed, like, when it comes to like certain jarred foods anymore, like those lids just do not want to fucking come off.
Now you're a bitch.
That's what the knife is for.
Yeah, you put it through and then you twist it like a screwdriver.
No, you just hit it with the base of the knife.
Well,
Problem fixes itself pretty goddamn quick.
So, sorry, what do you mean? Like you
I don't want to break the
just
glass.
pummel strike the cap until it's loosened off.
No, you just... Here. This is my knife stand-in. You just take it and...
It's a paint scraper. It's not a knife.
I said stand-in.
Also,
You
that's
do this a few
putty
times and
knife.
that fixes the issue.
I've never ever heard that trick before. I'm gonna try that the next time that happens.
Nah. If I have a particularly stubborn one, I just grab one of my dad's sanding discs.
Oh, that's an option.
Because
Whenever
most of
I
the time,
struggle
it's
with
not that it's a lack of strength for me trying to get the cap off. It's that I just can't get a proper grip on it because of the material or like how it's coated.
I reckon it's more so because of the Soylent bottles that you've been drinking again.
Yeah, maybe I need to get a better batch.
Stop
Stronger
taking-
stock, as it were.
You just need to go on the Joe Rogan TRT diet. You'll be fine. Do nothing but take steroids and eat steak for 6 months. You'll be fine.
I can't afford steak for 6 months.
It's all right. Go on the Asmund Gold diet then. Have a $1 steak for every day for 6 months. Have your teeth fall out. Don't get me wrong. Look, no hate towards those guys. They're fun, but you know, like it's definitely a unique lifestyle that they're living.
Yeah, we'll go
That's
with
one way to
unique.
put it.
So I'm trying to find something funny to riff on.
Of course, you know, like, as bad as Asmund Gold could be, it's just like, could be worse. Could be Hassan.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be worse.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to mention my feelings on him either.
Yeah, you'd be arrested in seconds.
Don't even get me started, because that's political.
We don't do that here.
No,
God.
no, we do not. I can't find a decent headline that isn't halfway political. Well, I would end up just turning into me crying about the state of the nation. Let's not do that.
It's like, the Empire, they took it from us.
Yeah.
Sold it all away.
And what do we have now? A pile of scraps.
I mean,
Ain't it grand?
it is what it is, man. I'm not gonna stress it.
Talking about things that'll probably reduce things to piles of scrap.
Shoot.
So, the thing that we knew was happening, at least here in the States, finally got an official designation and a contract award.
Sorry, what is this thing that we knew that was happening in the States? I'm completely out of the loop.
The F-47 has been announced.
Sounds like a cougar
So,
on a date.
there's been a project in the United States military called Next Generation Air Dominance, or NGAD for short. And, like, anybody that's been paying any attention to military aviation news knows that, yeah, the NGAD's been in active testing for probably at least the last 10 years. But recently it was announced by Trump that Boeing has won the contract and that they're going to start moving towards production with what is now dubbed the F-47.
Was that the same Boeing that didn't have the capabilities to rescue those astronauts for 6 months?
Well, Boeing, at least their history, like their very early history, was military aviation. That's what they did very early on.
McDonnell Douglas, which is now the people who are in charge of it.
Well, yeah, but McDonnell Douglas also made a bunch of really cool shit too, namely the F-15.
No, it's two companies that made really awesome shit. And then once they merged, the more cutthroat, less engineering-focused one decided to take over and crash the company as a whole. Because they didn't know what the fuck to do with their civilian marketplace.
Yeah, basically what happened with the merger is that Boeing got all of the really great, really talented military people from McDonnell Douglas, but they also got a lot of the really crap, don't know what the fuck they're doing commercial airline people, and those commercial airline people took over their commercial division.
So it's not just.
We've also got a cool little thing. Here, this is what the F-47 is supposed to look like.
I don't know if it's official yet.
I can't believe it's going to be able to suckle that many baby planes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a funny image.
That's a mama pig. That is. It's not even baby planes. It's not even going to be like biplanes suckling off of it. It's going to be like the rest of the military-industrial complex suckling off the team. You got Lockheed Martin just frothing at the bit to make missiles for this thing.
But trust me, like, Lockheed's good. They're fine.
Oh, no complaints there. I mean, so the British call the AC-130 at the Hercules, which I think is a better name for it, but I am biased. And they used to.
Well, we also call it the Hercules.
Well, okay, but that's the designation that we use. Like, we don't call it the AC-130. It's just the Hercules.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, my point being is that it was made down the road from where I grew up. Lots of aviation history in where I grew up, in British history, and they closed down the whole site that they used to make it on. And we went in there on a school trip, and this is meant to be a restricted access site. A bunch of 12-year-olds running around like psychos, just climbing all over the carbon fiber. I'd love to see the production line for these things. That'd be just insane.
Well, like, obviously, that like we don't know much of anything about it other than like it was in the works. I said it's been in testing for at least the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's no longer a secret blacklist thing. It is now a secret, publicly
like, America
known
is
about
about
thing.
Yeah, like basically, it's been officially announced America is about to have its first 6th generation fighter.
Mm-hmm.
While some countries are fielding their first 5th generation fighter, we're fielding our first known 6th generation fighter.
Oh, I can't wait to see the.
Not fielding; it's been approved for production.
I can't see the. I can't wait to see the on paper stats when War Thunder kick it out of the door. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting to see how long they actually stay secret for.
I think things that are safe to assume. Obviously, it's going to be a stealth platform. Probably
Well-
going to be using architecture very similar to, or even potentially better than what the F-35 is currently rocking.
Well, so I mean, what do you mean when you say stealth platform? Because stealth, there's no active hiding from certain elements of the search phase. You can't outright write off your radar signal.
So the whole thing about the better term for it is low observable.
Yeah. Okay.
Most of what are called stealth aircraft are designed and optimized to be next to invisible, like extremely tiny, basically, when it comes to high band radar waves.
Right. Okay.
Specifically, the type of radar waves that you need to actually lock and engage a target.
This is why Russia can see our low observable aircraft, but it can't do shit about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like whenever they talk about being able to see our stuff, they're talking about low band radars. Which, yes, you technically can see F-35s and F-22s on low bands, but you also see other things like trees and cloud formations.
It'll be interesting to see whether or not there's any advancement in the ability to scatter even further, perhaps.
Well, you'd think
But,
that the best way to overcome these would be to combine your low observable with your high observable. But
Well, it's mostly material science goes into absorbing them rather than reflecting them off. That would be the only way to make it completely invisible, and that's not feasible.
well, you're almost not going to
But
prevent. You're
What do
not
I
going to
know?
be able to prevent refraction and reflection. The moment you do that,
But yeah, like
you create something that could theoretically go legitimately physically invisible.
I said, like the focus is on, like the ranges of the radar wave that matter most. Because the thing with like planes like the F-22 and the F-35, it's like, great. Even if you know it's there, more often than not, like the vast majority of the time, it's going to be able to kill you long before you can kill it.
You're gonna die.
Oh, it's like great. You finally spotted the rabid honey badger we've sent into your airspace, but what are you gonna do about it?
Hell, even with high band waves, you can see it if it gets close enough. But by the time you can see it, it's already shot at you and probably destroyed you.
Yeah, you're already dead.
There is
And
something
like
that
with
has
the
just come across my
F-35, it's even worse. Because like with the F-35's platform, with its full sensor fusion capability, like it can go in first, and it can basically be calling targets for stuff that's behind it and directing their missiles onto target.
Well, I mean, that's the point with having all of the different air platforms that the US have developed over the years, is that they all
The
run
F-35
different-
can also control drones and direct their flight operations.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the F-35 is less of a fighter and more of a central control location. The control locus for an entire battle formation. That's not to say that it can't be functional as a fighter. It's just its primary purpose lends itself better to a central command within a battle group than to the actual combat. Which is great for the pilot, he don't have to be in danger as much as he used to, or she. I don't care.
Also, the fact that like with the new heads-up display, like helmet that they have, and like all the cameras and sensors along the skin of the F-35 that are built in. So the pilot, if he wants to look at the ground, he literally just looks down and he can see through the floor of the airplane.
Yeah. There's no longer a stanchion or anything like that can prevent visuals. There's camera issues where you might not be able to see a specific spot because of camera angles, but that's potential. That's not guaranteed. I don't know that for sure, given the fact that
a lot about the F-35 is still classified.
I do have something that came across my desk earlier. Actually,
human.
So you guys might not know the name, but you've almost certainly seen his art if you've been involved in 40k or enjoyed the art form. A man called Karl Kopinski. He's done cover art for codexes and a whole bunch of.
I heard cover up, not cover art.
I'll hang on a quick sec. I'll send you a couple of images of what he's done.
For him, she's just like, my glowy sense activated.
Hang on a second. Let me just get some artwork. I should have got it. I should have got this up earlier. My apologies. You guys have almost certainly seen this image here. Hang on a second. I'm just going to throw that into during show, so you guys can get it up on the screen. So the artist who has drawn almost all of the kind of era of Warhammer that I grew up with, he has had a stroke and has got a GoFundMe, which I will also drop in here.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
He's been dealing with issues for a while, and that he's had a major one that's affected his left-hand side, and he's unable to work now. So he's asking for help for him to be rehabilitated, to get his rehabilitation paid for. The artwork, I mean, it's fantastic stuff. Some of the stuff that he's done has been iconic to not just Warhammer 40k, but classic Warhammer. Responsible for some of the most emotive Warhammer art I've seen. And definitely one of those artists that, you know, someone whose name I didn't know until today, but whose art I've known my entire life. Definitely deserves to have that support.
This is on YouTube.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, Brainwash. Haven't seen him in a while, and he's on YouTube. What's up, Brainwash?
Yo!
Speaking of artists, hey, it's Brainwash. He did a lot of our assets.
I haven't seen Brainwash in ages, actually. Ever since I absolutely torpedoed his Cyberpunk campaign, which I apologize.
Yeah, we don't usually watch the YouTube chat because most people don't post there. I got it up. I was only reason I noticed, being perfectly honest, was because I was adding the GoFundMe to our description.
Yeah, no, it's always sucks to see. I hope he can recover somewhat from it.
Yeah.
I know, like Chris Gore from Film Threat suffered a minor stroke last year.
Yeah, yeah, he did, and yeah, it was lucky that he was with people.
Yeah, people that actually noticed that something was wrong with him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It affected his speech a little bit, but he got lucky.
Yeah, but definitely support the artist. I don't know if he's still, or if he has been working with Games Workshop still, although my contention with modern Games Workshop is that the art style has changed so dramatically, so I would assume not. But
well, yeah, because Games Workshop desperately does not want to be associated with the product that they created anymore.
Well, there's a lot of political implications that, more specifically regarding with where it's based. It being in the UK, having certain things that it's not allowed to, certain topics that it's not allowed to cover without, doing the whole DEI dance that every company has had to do for the last 10 years, but is now substantiated in law. I think I'm just having a stroke of my own. So if you're going to send money, send it to my GoFundMe. But yeah, the art style has definitely softened in years recent. Definitely something that I very much enjoy and would recommend for everyone to support, though, is this gentleman and his recovery to health.
I just can't help but flash back to that one like concept image of a female custodian where the bitch just looks like a steroided up fish that you pulled out of a pond.
I have not seen that image. You need to get that. That sounds fucking hilarious.
Where it's just like you imagine her breathing just sounds like
kill me. I was not meant to exist.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the specific one.
I got a little one that's Hi Bubba. I don't know if you can hear him.
Only when you speak. Yeah. So what's going on over in the States then? So, would you consider it going political if we were to talk about what was happening to Teslas and the broad social implications of that? Because that's kind of a gray area right now, isn't it? Where it's
So,
like,
in all honesty, with that, the reason behind it is political, but we can talk about the actions being taken without getting into the politics.
well, they're
Okay,
retarded.
here's the image I was thinking of, Dap. This is the my existence is pain image.
Oh God. Looks like... Oh, she looks like someone from Innsmouth.
I know! Well, I mentioned the fish part. I'm like, oh my god! What is wrong with your face?
It's the eyebrows, isn't it? It's got to be the eyebrows. If it was dark hair, it wouldn't be a problem. But it just makes it look like she shaved her eyebrows.
And the fact that it looks like her brow is sunken into her head.
More
I'll pull it
streamlined
up
for
on
swimming.
screen.
It's just not a very appealing image all around, is it? It does look
No,
too
it's
soft.
it's
It looks
it's
too
really
soft.
not.
We'll go with it's rough.
It's soft, definitely. Yeah.
Look at how much those lips protrude. You can see they come out past her fucking nose.
It looks like someone set a lead weight in her mouth and yanked it on a chain.
Puck no good.
She's just wearing an extra tough gum guard, alright? Leave her alone.
The emperor. Oh man.
What are you drinking there, Rimshee?
What's a drink?
Okay.
Wow, so defensive.
Fucking hell. I very much doubted it would be a solid.
You want juice? Juice, please. I'll be back.
I'm
Juice,
drinking
please.
Big Red myself.
Yeah.
This Big Red is good, and I like it.
Big Red?
Yeah.
The chewing gum.
No, the soda.
Right. Okay. No idea what it is. Never had it.
It's from Texas originally, but we get it here in the Midwest. It's kind of like a cream soda.
Right, okay, I wouldn't enjoy it then. I'm not a fan of vanilla sodas.
Well, the thing is that, like, it doesn't... Some people say it tastes like bubble gum, but that's not really accurate. Because the way that they get the flavor for Big Red is they combine your traditional, like, vanilla-flavored cream soda with lemon and orange oils.
Right, okay. So it's kind of got a, not a citrusy taste, but like, the essence, like, the essence taste. So it's kind of the fruity side of the
Yeah,
flavor.
just kind of slightly. It's sweet. It's really smooth. I like it.
I mean, I'd try it, but not a fan of cream sodas, typically.
It's not like their other offering called Big Blue, which I lovingly like to call essentially drinking cake frosting.
So you're more of a fan of the Big Red rather than the Big Blue?
Yeah.
And I was told this wasn't a political show. What the hell?
Big Blue's just too fucking sweet, man. Get off the couch. No dogs on couch.
Haha. Well, it's a good thing I'm not on the couch.
Yeah, I'm trying to break my dog of that habit. Dad wasn't as strict with him as he should have been when he was a puppy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the same problem when I get back from the honeymoon. 2 weeks of my dad supervising the animals is gonna end with me having to yell a lot at the cats.
It wouldn't be so bad if not for a couple of factors. One, he's a husky mix.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got the really furry feet. And my neighborhood used to be marshland. And they basically just dumped a bunch of clay and sand to fill it in to like put houses on.
So it's just muddy all the time.
Exactly.
Sounds like fun.
And we had to replace the fence again last year. So there are sections of the yard where there still isn't a lot of grass left.
Right. Okay. I'll see it.
So soil that retains way too much water, not enough vegetation, and furry feet. This dog tracks mud everywhere.
What you need to do is you just need to start living the muddy boy lifestyle. That's what you need to do.
No, he can just stay off the fucking furniture.
Like a certain brown-nosed pup.
Oh, fuck you! God damn it, I hate that I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, many do. That still makes me cringe.
Thanks, Wang. Fucker.
Put your Wang away.
I actually haven't watched anything that he's made in like over a year now.
Well, he's still doing good stuff.
Justin Wang.
Mm.
So I'm.
I did like when Imp Lemon was talking about Monday Night Raw. His video he did on Monday Night Raw, how he brought Justin Wang in to explain The Undertaker.
I very much enjoyed the older stories, but I have to be in the right mood for it. I don't have a strong cringe constitution. I end up getting too involved with the story, and it just ends up hurting.
Yes, I especially can't watch it anymore. It's like, damn it, that pig farm that used to be near my uncle's house closed down. I don't have anywhere to hide bodies now.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that the whole pig farmer episode he did with the bestiality stuff.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
May not have been.
You gotta make sure you take off the belts and shoes. As long as you get rid of those separately, you're good.
Teeth as well.
Hammer can fix that pretty quick.
I don't know if talking about how to dispose of a body is okay as far as Twitch is concerned. I mean, who's gonna stop us, right?
No, we're just talking about Hannibal. You know, everybody saw that movie.
Snatch, where he's talking about how to do that, and no, it's not a problem. We're not being, it's not horrendous.
We're not evil people, I promise.
we haven't figured out a way of doing this in our day-to-day lives at all. Never. How dare you? What an accusation.
What you want? Why you staring at me?
So, the whole Tesla situation, right? The problem that I've seen regarding the attitude is it's well and good. Like, if there were protests outside of Tesla buildings, I don't think anyone would care. Like, it would be a news story. People would be like, "That's stupid," but like, okay. But we're talking about actually damaging like private property.
Yeah, vandalism, firebombing.
But yeah, attempted murders. You know, I don't think anyone was dragged out of a shop for selling Bud Light. When that whole boycott movement was on, when they were buying it up and blowing it up. It just seems to me to be that.
Well, yeah, because like once you've purchased something, you can do whatever you want with it, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, pretty much.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as I'm not freezing it and throwing it off a bridge on the highway, like, no one's really going to care what I'm doing with it.
There are some exceptions, of course, like bullets when
Yeah.
used in self-defense.
Yeah, or, giving the alcohol to a minor,
You're
right?
a
No,
minor.
And I'll be one of the people that will say, like, all that shit was stupid at the time. It's like, oh, it's like you're protesting, huh? And yet you spent money to buy the product that you're protesting to You're a fucking idiot.
Well,
Yeah, but there were plenty more people who were just straight up boycotting it, so there's that.
I never
Yeah, like they
understood the
did
whole
see
boycott.
major sales
I
loss.
never understood the whole boycott anyway. I don't know, like, it was already a shit beer. Don't drink it because it's shit beer. Don't drink it because it's got an activist you don't like that's running the advertising for them. It's just silly. It just seems silly to me. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about with the Teslas was the actual threat to human life that is coming out of this now. It's like, it seems to me that, oh yeah, we can laugh about how silly it is, but like, there's a lot of people, getting hurt, losing tens of thousands of dollars worth of personal property, and insurance companies are going to do everything they can not to pay out for this. It's not like, oh, why are you worried about it? You're insured. So I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it, because you have,
Well,
obviously, as an American.
I believe Trump means what he said recently, that basically this is going to start leading to a bunch of federal pound you in the ass prison sentences.
Well, it should do anyway, regardless of whether or not it's one of his political buddies that's having that done, right? So,
well, yeah, like, this is,
you don't get
it's getting to the point where it's basically bordering on domestic terrorism.
I would say it's probably past that, but that may be getting a little too political.
The only reason why I'd be so quick to say that I agree with that, really, would be something along the lines of, you guys have seen firsthand through, well, I say firsthand, you guys have seen secondhand through the lens of the media, that there is a concerted effort to get in and stop Musk from doing whatever it is he's doing. Agree with
this
him or
is
not,
getting a bit political.
I agree with him or not. I don't particularly care. The actual point that I was trying to make, which is not anything political, was that the response to that isn't to then start blowing up people who are not involved in any way. It's just not right. That was my entire thesis of this, was just getting that out there.
And so, like, there's a lot that's involved in it that we can't really go into.
Well, and there's a lot we don't know as well. So,
like, the fact that, like, that these are not, if we want to be really honest about it, these are not spontaneous. These are being funded. They're planned.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
They're at least planned. There are some of them that are spontaneous, but there's a good portion of them that are planned.
Well, I mean, all of these events have to be organized to some degree, and
I think one of the main reasons why things are being held off on action is that they're actually looking for the people that are supplying the money right now.
maybe.
As you notice, a lot of these people that show up to these have, like, really nice matching shirts.
Yeah, well, we've seen that before with a whole bunch of other kind of governmental institutions being involved with grassroots movements.
I said that's the stuff that we can't really get into.
No, I wasn't going to get specific, but it's like it would not be the first time that we've seen that as an informed public. So it shouldn't surprise anyone that that's a potential.
Yeah. All it says to me is that we have a good section of our society that's just completely mentally stunted and never actually grew up.
Yeah, well, I think that's a problem with the culture in general, though, isn't it? It's just we've emphasized so much of young people's existence as not taking that time to mature, and only using that time to fuck about. You've got an entire generation of people who don't really know how to deal with things that aren't of things of a nature that they can't handle in a mature manner because they've never had to step up and be mature in that instance.
An entire generation that can't handle being told no.
I think the entire generation argument, I think maybe probably a bit too broad, because I know for a fact that there are plenty of people in my age bracket.
Yeah, I'm speaking in generalistic terms, Dap.
No, I think that the hashtag not all, not political thing, but the hashtag not all kind of applies to this conversation when we say younger generation.
I mean, you can talk in generalities, because generally speaking, people in my generation tend to be the ones taking these sorts of actions.
Yeah.
Generally, it's not the same as every individual. I'm in that generation, obviously, and I'm not participating.
I will say broadly about millennials, there's a lot of millennials that have their heads screwed on straight. There's also a lot of millennials that are a bunch of fucking pussies that can't handle adversity.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah. But the what was I going to say? Put in that caveat of the generally caveat in there is important. Otherwise, we end up, arguing with someone about terms or terminologies or the way in which we address a situation, and then we end up just arguing about.
Oh, you mean a certain dumb fuck that showed up in Discord not too long ago?
No, maybe. We end up talking past each other because we've not set terms. And those terms need to
Well, in his case, he's deliberately avoiding setting concise terms so he can continue talking past people.
Yeah, well, we saw that firsthand, definitely. But the actual behavior of one or many people, if we're not eventually concise with our wording, it will be used against you. So I just thought I'd throw that knot out there, just to kind of work its magic, as it were, to make sure that everyone knows that we're not talking everyone without.
Yeah, you're covering your ass. We get it.
Yeah. Any kind of thought process regarding. Yeah.
Nobody watches this shit anyway, Dap. I don't know what you're concerned about.
It's not whether or not someone watches it or not. It's just good etiquette to make sure that that's something thought of.
Sounds gay. Anyway.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. Let's talk about ethics in games journalism. That's not a hot topic.
No! No!
No one's ever had any disagreements about that, have they?
So is Avowed dead yet?
Sorry, what?
I said, is Avowed dead yet?
I didn't even know what you were talking about. As far as I'm aware, that game crawled out of the gate and immediately passed away. There was like 3 articles I saw on it, and not one of them was like, "This game's a masterpiece."
Well,
Every single one of them
on
was.
Steam, it's a 7 out of 10. IGN is giving it a 7 out of 10. PC
Of
Gamer
course,
is giving it
IGN gave it a 7 out of 10. What the fuck else did you expect?
I don't know. Maybe for them to use a number other than 7 for once.
No. 7 is the only number that they've ever known. I despise IGN. Truly, like, there's no.
They've completely warped consumer perception as to what fucking average is.
Well, a 7 out of 10 shouldn't be average. It should be a good piece of media.
Yeah.
But like,
Honestly,
Assassin's
5
It's
out
got
of 10
flaws,
should be
but it's
average.
enjoyable.
Assassin's Creed Shadows has come out recently. I think you guys may have heard about this one.
No, I don't know about
Yeah,
this
like,
Assassin's Creed Shadows. Please don't tell me more.
I'm not going to tell you any more, other than the fact that if we do go into it too deeply or criticize design elements in the game, there is a slim chance that Ubisoft might sue you.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause
I
that's
don't
a
know
mark
enough
that
about
your
it to
brand
criticize
is
it.
doing really well.
I'm just not playing it, so I don't know what the criticism I would have would be.
Well, there's a fella on YouTube.
So I have to ask.
Go on.
I have to ask. If I were to ask you guys, it's like, of games you've played, name one that you would consider like an actual 7 out of 10.
Far Cry 5.
Let me pull up
Alright,
Steam
fair.
so I can look at my library.
Far Cry
I was
5
just
is-
walking past some games I had laying out. I'm like, oh, Fable 2. That's a 7 out of 10, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that's a 7 out of 10. But it also that's
agree
partly
with you.
because it improved on Fable 1, but also improved on or no, not improved, but also made some missteps of its own. If I remember right,
Yeah,
they
it
got
took a
rid
lot of
of the
steps
menu
backward.
system.
I think Far Cry 5 deserves 7 out of 10. It's aggressively mid. The DLCs are terrible. The story is okay at best. It's just, hey, let's retell Far Cry 3, but make it a kooky American cult leader. And then they dropped.
I know a lot of
absolute
people weren't
banger.
satisfied with the ending of Far Cry 5 either.
No, it's not. It's not great.
I'd
But it's
say
It was
Prey
just
is
like,
a 7
oh
out of
yeah,
10.
you do all this. It's like you do all this stuff, and then you just lose. It doesn't matter
gameplay-
everything that you did, you lose.
The gameplay loop though is good. It's a passable gameplay loop. It's like, I would also say that something like Assassin's Creed Revelations, the last Ezio game, was also pretty damn good. So it's a 7, I would say. It suffers
Assassin's
the
Creed Black Flag was a lot of fun.
that was more than a 7 out of 10 though.
Yeah.
Not.
It was
argue
just you
I
brought up
would say it's
Assassin's Creed.
probably
You want
closer
to
to- yeah.
ask me what Assassin's Creeds were good? Assassin's Creed 1 was seen as good purely because of when it came out, but the vast improvements they made in Assassin's Creed 2 turn it into a keep it at a high score purely because it's the start of all that, but it itself is not necessarily a good game anymore. Assassin's Creed 2 and its 2 sub-sequels, those are all good. Assassin's Creed 3 is, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was bad, but I'd maybe put it at a 5 or 6 out of 10. It did a lot of stuff poorly, and then Assassin's Creed Black Flag came back out, and it was like a 7 or an 8.
Overall, though, the Assassin's Creed series, if even including the more recent ones on the series, has been like a solid aggregate score out of 10 of like, I'd say probably like a 6.5 to 7. The whole thing's been okay. It's been perfectly plausible video gaming experience. The problem
Yeah,
that
the main problem with Assassin's Creed in recent years is, like, most people I've seen that complain about it, it's like, it's literally just more of the same. We're not really
Yeah.
going anywhere with the franchise, we're just kind of repeating ourselves.
well, they can't actually
And, like, changing the setting.
they can't change what's on the system. They can't change the story, because if they did that would require a character like Desmond again, someone who can actually, grow and change and go forward. But that doesn't fit within the live service model.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Not the modern
this
live
is-
service model, at least.
That's
Yeah.
the big looming thing over a lot of stuff, is this live service way of doing video games.
Well, the live service model is just the video game corporate way of turning their product into the Marvel Cinematic Universe of video games. That's what live service is.
Yeah.
It's the MCU
And
of
I hate
video. Well, if done right,
I don't know a
it
single
could be fantastic.
player who likes it.
If done right, it could be fantastic. If there was a service game that was dropping like quality content every 6 months, I don't think people
Yeah,
would
but my
care.
problem, Dap, is it's basically like the same argument for communism at this point. It's like, in theory, it could be great.
I agree. In theory, though, I could see it working. However, I don't think that there is a single company both not greedy enough and not desperate enough right now to actually waste their time trying to do something unique or something that's actually what's the word I'm looking for specifically? Something that's actually enjoyable to the public.
Yeah. Like fucking 343 Industries, they tried to implement the live service shit with Halo Infinite. It's just like, it's gonna be 10 years of Halo, and it's already dead.
Oh yeah, 10 years of Halo. Sorry, did I say 10 years? I meant 10 months.
Like, can we just make a good game?
No.
Can we just
because-
start at making the game good?
Well, it's so expensive that they need to basically prove to their investors that they're going to have X amount of years of return on the product. I guarantee
Yeah,
you the money
I think
that-
we're overdue for another AAA market crash.
Yeah.
We have been for a very, very long time. Yeah. This is not. This is something that is being propped up not by people who care about the industry, but by people who have the money to keep the industry on life support long enough to make their money and leave.
Yep, that's exactly what's happening.
It is just the AAA market is just stock shares and all of the other wonderful things that nobody needs or wants out of art in that sense. So there is a lot to be said for Shadows being kind of a focused point of both the live service issue, but also the lack of creativity, the social issues regarding the DEI, and the not just the implementation of those political ideologies that you may or may not disagree with, but the implementation of the defense of having those in the game, rather than going, yes, this is what we believe, or yes, this is what we want to have, and this is why. It jumped immediately to assuming that people with disagreements regarding that have bad intentions. It's a known and quantifiable fact that all of this stuff comes from executives who are just too scared to actually take the risk of investing in a game that doesn't have a built-in fan base. This is why we're in the positions we're in now.
Yeah, like I was talking in a chat in VC the other day. I was talking with Waffle.
Oh
and, like,
god,
you know, like,
that was so great.
It was.
Oh man, I missed that.
Like, not even joking, seeing Waffle again, that was
Yeah.
worth all the shit.
That was fantastic. Though.
Like it was literally the case, you know, like not even 20 years ago now.
Mm.
But it's hard to believe it's closing in on 20 years where, like, even the big studios, like the one I brought up was Electronic Arts, or EA. I brought up EA. I'm like, you know, back in like 06 or 07 or something, probably more like 06, there was a branch studio of EA called EA Redwood Shores. And at the time, they came to EA with this this thing that they were working on, like this concept for a game that they had. And it was so brutal, so horrific and gory that a lot of the people in the EA upper management are just like, I don't know about that, man. I don't know if we want to put any money behind this. But there was one EA executive that looked at it, thought it had potential, and was like, okay, you guys got the green light. Here's a budget for it. Get it done. And that game ended up becoming Dead Space.
Oh. And that
But
the
risk-
original Dead Space is
risk-taking.
fantastic. The remake is also fantastic. The
Okay,
remake, though, is a love letter to the original.
So, yeah, but the remaking is kind of the problem, right? It's the fucking remake. It's the 17th Assassin's Creed game. It's frustrating when, you know, we used to have. I mean, the 360 generation was explosive with a lot of very out there games. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The muddy brown cover shooting third person shooters were a problem. I say a problem. They were an aesthetic choice that was prevalent at the time, but like,
Yeah, but like around the same
these phases,
time,
we knew that they were phases.
But
Right.
my point,
Then
ultimately, my point
have-
is that, like, Dead Space is the exception. The Dead Space remake is the exception. When you take a chance, oftentimes some gold comes from it. If you don't
Well, I
take a
also think-
yeah,
chance,
the
you
thing
get
with
some
the Dead
silver.
Space remake.
Go ahead.
So here's the thing. I love Dead Space. I basically have the original game memorized. I know where everything is. I know where every enemy is going to spawn and what it's going to be. That's how often I've played that game. I have every achievement for it.
Nice.
So the Dead Space remake, it's so good, it basically replaces the original game.
Yeah.
Because it's a true remake from the ground up almost.
Yeah, they changed what needed to be changed, because there was some stuff that was at issue with the original. They changed some of that. They altered some things. They fixed some glitches that you had to deal with in the original. And it turns out that when you actually give a fuck about the game you're making, and you're a fan of the game of the game that your game is based on, you get shit done and you do it right. You do it in a way that's
So here's the thing, it's like,
fun.
you know, here's things that they added into the Dead Space remake. They completely changed how zero gravity works. They implemented the system from Dead Space 2 onwards. They
made
added
the
new
tram-
areas to the game.
They made
The
the
tram is optional.
Yeah, they made the tram able to be a kind of fast travel between levels.
You can go back to previous levels to open up side rooms that weren't there before, that you don't always have access to initially. There's side quests.
So
going back to different parts of the ship can cause different things to happen because of the there's like a new system in the game where, like, say I went to this one section of the ship earlier and everything, like the lights were on and stuff, but if I go back to that section a little later while backtracking, all the lights could be out and like steam pipes can be ruptured and shit, and there's enemies again, sometimes even stronger than what there was before.
Mm-hmm.
And all the areas you've unlocked, all the areas you've been to are now completely accessible through and through.
So
yeah, you don't lose access to the entire ship once you've unlocked it until you go to the surface.
So do you think that we are? I mean, we're clearly, in your guys' opinion, very lucky to have the Dead Space remake. I'm sure you would agree with me there. The problem that I have isn't necessarily with the fact that we've got a good remake. It's just my concern is that the industry is so risk averse because of the cost of the games that they feel that they have to put out there. I mean, the thing is if they'd have just spent...
Oh yeah, trust me. I would prefer we get new IPs. I really would.
Even if they had released Assassin's Creed Shadows and it was a 300 kilobyte pixel adventure game that was actually good, no one would complain about that. They don't have to spend this level of money on the projects in order to get down there, like to get that money back, to get down to that investment, to get, to pay that money off. They just need to focus on trying to make a good game. That's all they need to do. And yet the sheer quantity of inflow from expectant money back expectant people has destroyed their ability to be creative and to be risky. I also think that, generally speaking, though, corporate interactions with these things, these projects that we're talking about, have caused a distinct adverse reaction to potential loss.
Well, companies are always going to have a
the
poor
point where like
reaction
loss
to
is
potential
unacceptable.
loss. Yeah.
Well, of course.
No, I think like more depth to say is like loss has become an unacceptable thing.
It's not even, hey, we put this game out and it didn't make money. It's not the end of the world. We understand that there's going to be another game that we can make in a couple of years' time. Games are just so much of an investment now that you can't risk it. That's why the indie game market's blowing up. They are able to move and redirect themselves faster.
Yeah,
we've seen that firsthand.
The AAA industry has become this bloated, slow titan.
Well, it's for years and years and years, video games have wanted to be Hollywood, and they are very quickly becoming what Hollywood is today.
Yeah.
Incapable of change and risk adverse to the point of mediocrity. And you still get a few renegade directors in the AAA sphere that have got the ability to make half decent video games, but you're not going to get anything quite like what we had back in the 360 era, with all of the weird and artistic endeavors that were undertaken by large studios. We're just not going to see that again.
Yeah, like in this day and age, this industry, for example, like you don't get like a Dead Space, you don't get a BioShock.
Definitely not. No. Because those were
Not from the
gamble.
AAA.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
I
That's the
still,
biggest-
to this day, remember like booting up BioShock for the first time and just having my mind blown. Like getting into that lighthouse for the first time, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I think the
Not
gaming
seeing the trick until you've played through the game.
The way that they do water effects in BioShock still looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were a mutual friend of ours. We were talking about a game called funny enough, Tom Clancy game. It's a Ubisoft title, Advanced Warfare. It still holds up to this day graphically. It's not by any means like it's not by any means like a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but it's pretty. It's
Well,
reasonable.
I think it was Waffle that mentioned it the other day. It's like, so a lot of people don't remember. It's like Ubisoft used to be like a powerhouse in publishing. It's like, he's like, Ubisoft published Morrowind.
Yeah.
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 Because Bethesda was not a publisher at the time.
Speaking of which, I am so looking forward to Skywind coming out, the mod for Skyrim, to remake the entirety of Morrowind in it.
Oh yeah. Wait until they don't support it, and then actively release a patch that damages the release of the game, or the mod outright, for another 6 months, so they can't release it on St. George's Day like they. Sorry, I'm talking about Fallout London.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fallout London, by the way, is a great mod, and I would recommend it. It's not just because I'm, again, biased, but because it's actually a Fallout game. Unlike Fallout 4. I can hear Poveros screaming.
Bethesda is incredibly petty.
I can hear Poveros screaming at me from the rafters.
No, he thinks Fallout 4 is not great as well, so.
Now. That took him a long time to get to that conclusion. Blimey.
At least he pretty much outright rejected the Fallout show.
Oh god.
He's just like, no.
It's like people are like, oh yeah, but what about the ghoul?
I
He's
love
pretty cool.
Jables,
No.
but
Walton Goggins is pretty cool.
I can bring it up now because he won't scream at me because he's not here.
We won't get into another fight based on us not liking it. Or not wanting to watch it. Let me rephrase it.
I love that Jables thought the show was good. I don't need to see that show to know that it wasn't, though.
I can allow my friends to be wrong. I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't get it. People said that the ghoul is the strongest part of it. I agree that Walton Goggins is a damn fine actor, but unfortunately you can't save a show with just one performance. There's a
having a
multitude
great
of different
actor
things.
does not. Oh, look who was summoned.
Also, it's like it's only the performance. It's only the performance. Because the character that he portrays is a goddamn contradictory mess.
No, but Walton Goggins is a fucking outstanding actor and deserves to be praised at every opportunity that he performs a good performance.
I said, the performance was great.
Yeah.
The character he's portraying is terrible.
Since you're here, Paul, is Fallout 4 a proper Fallout game?
No, not even slightly. You have zero control of who your character actually is at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're wrong, Dap. He wouldn't yell at you.
It's a fun.
That did say before.
It's a fun sandbox in the aesthetic of Fallout with good gunplay.
Is it? So I just like to ask: is it actually in the aesthetic of Fallout?
Yeah. It's in
the aesthetic of Bethesda Fallout.
Yeah, the East Coast aesthetic, which is a little bit more
Pulp Fiction-y.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't mean the Tarantino movie, obviously.
Yeah, the kind of what's the term for it? that we use.
Retrofuturism?
Right. It still has retrofuturism, not as much as say like New Vegas or the originals. But like what?
Well, the originals weren't really retrofuturism. They were more cassette futurism.
Yeah. Americana? No, that's not the right word. I forget what it's called. Back when I was really getting
The
into
original
these.
Fallouts have a more 80s vibe.
Yeah.
Than
Well,
50s.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reference and influence from a lot of different like 80s material, including like Mad Max and
Well, it's what there is obviously the classic kind of Buck Rogers 1950s sci-fi that is involved in that whole aesthetics as well. It's not simply just one level of aesthetics, but the problem that I have with Fallout 4 broadly is I agree with you, is you are not role playing a character. You are the lone survivor, regardless of what you do. I wouldn't argue that it's within its own aesthetic, though. I would argue that the aesthetic changed quite dramatically between 3 and 4, and New Vegas and 4, which, you reused a lot of the same assets.
Yeah, 4 really, really ramped up that like 50s Americana shit.
50s Americana, maybe that's what I was looking for. It definitely dove back into it more, but I view that more as being a part of the fact that it's trying to represent Boston as its own like very thematic, like heavily thematic, this is Boston. Whereas all the rest of the Fallouts, we had it a little bit in Fallout 3 when you went into DC, with the references to things like just the museums and stuff like that, and the presidents. But most of past particular Fallouts, the concept was more, this is a wasteland with guns, so basically desert. It wasn't particularly anything so thematic as like America. It just had a lot of American pop culture things in it from a much earlier time.
Well, like,
have you played Fallout?
It was also more. It's kind of the case also with like Fallouts 1 and 2 and New Vegas. It's like the majority of those games take place in like the Sierra Nevadas area, which is desert to begin with.
Yeah, which is the reason
like the nukes didn't change that much.
I didn't mind that part of it, making a distinction look between New England and the desert. There is a distinctive look, just even right now. And so I don't really have or take too much issue with them doing that. It's just,
well, I'm just talking more in the sense of, like in places like where you're at in like Boston, like area, like New England and whatnot, it's like it's been over 200 years. It's like, well, yeah, everything shouldn't still be gray and shit.
Well, kind of. The buildings shouldn't exist. Like, if we want to take reality into the concept, by that point in time, all the buildings would be on, like, to the dirt. But greenery, that's called into question a lot. I've heard it take both ways, to where it could overgrow, or there could be more issues that prop up, because obviously we've never nuked the planet before. Like even the places that have been nuked, it hasn't been so big as to create a lot of the environmental changes that we assume would happen from a nuclear bomb, like a shit ton of a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, like the single big nuke, like even if it was a really big nuke that we see go off at the start of the game, would not create the glowing sea. That's just horseshit. That's not how that works.
True. I don't disagree with that, though it has been pointed out multiple
Like
times.
Chernobyl, for example, where a bunch more radioactivity got released than any single nuclear bomb. Like, shit's still growing there.
Mm.
It has mega cancer, but it's still
It's
growing.
not a fucking wasteland.
Right, but we again, like the environmental changes to the planet are what we're talking is mainly what causes it to look like that, and where a lot of the debate back and forth comes from. We have theories and ideas of what would happen, and so my take on Fallout's take on the concept is more just that's the version that they ascribe to. Whereas
My whole point with it is that Fallout 4 aesthetically overall, in my opinion, it's lifeless. It's uninteresting.
For me, my biggest problem with it is the retconning of certain pieces of equipment and certain key levels of aesthetic that were unnecessarily taken from the design philosophy that they had.
There's so many there's a lot of shit within Fallout 4. Like, I've gone on significant rants that last like hours with people about how much Fallout 4, just Fallout, like, I'm not even touching anything else that has been connected to the Fallout IP since then, which is far worse, but even Fallout 4, just so much wrong with how they handled so many different kinds of things, from like just non-existent quests, characters that like have no personality, to how much they warped and retconned certain things within the world. The biggest, I think the most recognizable example is Vault 95. I believe it's the one with the drug addicts and like the drugs that were all in the drug addict vaults. Some of them were drugs that were created after
they have a massive stockpile of jet, which is impossible.
It completely impossible. And even the vault's existence itself is just like really, really dumb, because it's like, when we got to Fallout 3, one of the cool things that they did was they dove really hard into the Fallout dungeons, or the Vault dungeons from 1, 2, and a bit in Tactics. Tactics was less that.
Tactics
and I
doesn't
really enjoyed
exist. Shut up.
I still don't have an opinion on whether or not it should fall in canon or not.
Yeah, I don't either. I've never played it.
I like the concept. But and then furthermore, when we went into New Vegas, we had better writers, so they created better vaults. So then we get to 4, and they threw out that concept entirely. There weren't any like vault dungeons, not ones that we got from past games, at least. Sure, technically Vault 95 fits that, but it was so short, and it was still filled with like current, like, alive people. Whereas a lot of the point
it's basically just a raider camp. It's a dressed up raider camp.
Yeah, a lot of the point of the past dungeons was to find out what happened. Nick Valentine's initial location quest was really small.
God, that's so shit.
Was really small, but it had all the trappings that could have made it a really interesting vault. But all we got was, oh yeah, the mob came in and, wiped them out. It's just like, oh, that's all we get? Okay, cool, great. Thanks, guys. You really actually set up something quite interesting, and then you decided not to like pursue it farther than maybe a half a second of thought.
This is why I think
It's all
Bethesda
surface
are
level.
allergic. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Bethesda were just allergic to making good ideas. Especially when Obsidian made a perfectly cromulent Fallout game, and then out of pettiness, they're just like, we're never working with you guys again. It did seem that it does seem that the whoever is in charge at Bethesda, whoever's behind the scenes, because Todd Howard is not the only person making decisions there, and I think it would be unfair for everyone to blame him. But if Todd Howard gets his fifis hurt so much by other people making good games and taking playful jabs at Bethesda for not being able to the point where he's pretty much hobnailed himself away from working with any kind of unique outcome. That's a problem. That is a problem for Bethesda. If they aren't able to redirect and go, hey, we should try something different. This is the same problem that I've been having with all of modern AAA gaming this whole time. So,
Well, one of the big problems that Bethesda has a name, and it's Pagliarillo.
I don't know that name.
Emil
He was the
Pagliarillo?
primary writer for Skyrim and Fallout 4.
Oh.
Well, that's
And
interesting,
he
because I would
is
say Skyrim is a
terrible.
decent... I'd say Skyrim is a decent game. But...
I'd say it's a solid 6.
It's a decent open world. You actually
Yeah.
get into the quest aspect of Skyrim, and it falls apart really fast.
Sure. Especially their main quest, the central line.
But the thing is like, to give you an idea of like what kind of writer Pagliarillo is, he recently had a whoopsie on X, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He recently had a whoopsie. You know that scene at the start of the original Fallout? The one where the two American soldiers execute the helpless Canadian soldier?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've had this idea for a while, like, new potential canon idea, guys. It's like, that guy, like that other power armor soldier you see in the background laughing as the helpless prisoner of war is murdered. It's like, that's the guy that you play in Fallout 4.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, right. So
I mean, he's killing a Canadian,
Everybody,
so I can't blame
like,
him.
kind of... Well, the thing is like, this dude is such a dumb motherfucker who doesn't actually think about the things that he writes or says, that he immediately backpedaled and tried to say, oh, it was just an idea, guys. I wasn't really saying that, when people started rightly playing. I was like, so Nate's a war criminal.
good.
Which adds this weird ass layer that I didn't understand whatsoever, because either you play as a lawyer, which sure, I guess that kind of makes sense as a backstory, maybe in some aspects, or you play as a soldier. That's it.
One of these is far more equipped to handle this situation than the other.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you shouldn't. I suppose you absolutely can be given a job, because I suppose the courier had a job, right? The courier is the
Right.
courier. But the
But
problem
the thing
that,
I'm trying to point out there, though, with his fuck up there, is that he came up with that idea and didn't even realize that he was saying that the main character of the game that he wrote was a war criminal. He didn't realize what he just did. Because he's a fucking idiot.
yeah, and then to have him, wax
That's who we
lyrical
have
about
writing
how
Fallout and stuff at Bethesda right now. An idiot.
waxing lyrical about how war never changes. Well, you know, I'm kitted out and I'm making them laugh.
He's also made a quote similar, like,
Yeah.
I don't know the exact quote, but he's basically, when talking about the lore of Fallout, that he didn't want to be constrained, like, he didn't want to have to be beholden to stuff that was written 20 years ago.
Yeah, this is another problem that we have with the modern
Then you're not
writer.
the fucking guy that needs to be writing. Get the fuck out.
Yeah,
But
the modern writer, ladies and
Bethesda
gentlemen.
has been on a just an absolute fast track to prove that they have no idea what the concept of war never changes ever since Fallout 4. Every time they've used that turn of phrase in anything since Fallout 4, it has made no goddamn sense.
Yeah, you don't know what it means.
It's just a phrase that's associated with Fallout as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Because the thing is, like, the deeper meaning of that phrase, what that phrase actually means, because, like, war obviously changes. War changes all the goddamn time. There's new tactics, there's new weapons, there's new technology.
I mean, we talked about a change here at the start of the show. The F-47.
Like, war as a concept, like, well, like, war is how you fight war, is constantly changing. The true meaning of war never changes is that people don't change.
Yeah. Well,
The thing that causes all wars, people don't change. That's why war keeps happening.
Yeah.
But it does change. There are plenty of people who are absolutely untouchable in Fallout 4. You're not allowed to disagree with them or admonish them or anything along those lines.
Yeah, like the fact that you can never condemn Sean at any point for all the horrific shit that the Institute has done.
For kidnapping all of those children.
Just the simple concept of, oh hey, what if I'm about to become the leader of, like, the boogeyman. I can't do anything as the leader to change them from being the boogeyman into, like, what actually would be beneficial and helpful. I just become the leader, and then I have a bunch of, like, bored bureaucrats complaining at me for like, and you're completely locked into whatever the game thinks is the correct way.
Because if there's one thing that I really want to do...
Shoutouts to Kurtosis on YouTube for doing a bunch of in-depth videos on this.
If there's one thing that is the most important when you're rebuilding human civilization, it's generating bionic gorillas. Yeah, okay, cool. There's nothing else about the world in which they're living in that could be fixed before they need to generate bionic gorillas. It seems to be completely disconnected from what an institution like MIT would evolve into.
For the fact that with every other faction that's not the Institute, there is no option other than to put a nuke inside the Institute. It's like, guys, we can do a lot with this technology, I think.
There's like 100 other options here. Why is every route blow up the Institute? It was so dumb. One of my favorites takes on it was up is not jump. He recently redid a Fallout 4 as a nightmare video. And he's like, it just feels like, haven't we seen all this before? And then he repoints to the Fallout 3 version of the Synthetic Man quest. It's just the more you think about it, the more it was just them wanting to turn that quest like extended. And that's why it broke down. It already worked for like a 30-minute small quest that we saw, but they tried to just like extend it to the full game. And there just wasn't enough there.
Yeah, it is stretching 20 minutes over 7 hours, really. Yeah.
Speaking of stretching time, we are a little over our normal time now, but there's nothing stopping us from continuing this conversation offline.
Hell, we could move it to general
But
and
for
continue it there.
for myself and Rimshee, we have been your Lesser Saints of Discord. Special guest appearances today were Dapper, Ailment, and Poveros. Thank you for joining us.
Mhm.
I'll be wobble.
And we will see you all next week with Jables again, hopefully. 4:30
Hopefully.
Pacific Standard Time,
If
7:30...
he
No, wait, that's the old time. 1:30 Pacific Standard Time, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time.
If Jables is
Right
able
here
to
Sunday.
on Twitch.
Sunday.
Sunday!
Jablesaurus Rex.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.